The hunt for Inter's new manager begins. And there's a few names being thrown around. Some questionable, some debatable, some that make sense, and some that make no sense. I'll be honest with you guys. There have been some names linked with the Inter job where I've just been sat scratching my head thinking, what? What have you done to earn this opportunity? Before everything, make sure to like, subscribe, always helps the channel keep growing, and let me know who you want in the comments and who you think Inter should approach and who they should stay away from. Now let's just start off with Beppe Marotta. In summary, he's come out, me paraphrasing, and said, listen, Simone Inzaghi leaving, it's a bit of news that shocked us. It shocked us. We weren't planning it. We weren't anticipating it. It's come out of nowhere, but don't worry. Rest assured, Inter will make the right decision. Now, do I agree with this? I actually do feel like it did come as a bombshell to Beppe Marotta that Simone Inzaghi was leaving. I feel like a month ago, nobody anticipated the month that Inter were about to have, where they were in the running for a treble. It didn't happen. Then they were in the running for a double. It didn't happen. Then they were running for the primary goal, the primary trophy, the most important, the trophy on top of the food chain, the Champions League. Nobody expected a 5-0 spanking, a 5-0 hammering. And nobody expected the damage a 5-0 spanking would have had on the squad, on the coach. And I feel like that 5-0 spanking was like the green light for Al-Hilal. This coach has just been spanked 5-0. You look at the pressure, you look at the abuse, the criticism that some sections of the Inter fan base have dished out towards Simone Inzaghi, and maybe, just maybe, Simone Inzaghi has hit rock bottom and he needs a fresh start. So this is our opportunity to now pile the pressure and bring him to Saudi Arabia. And they did, they succeeded. So I do feel like this news came as a massive bombshell to Beppe Marotta. But listen, Beppe Marotta, he's the Italian godfather. He's the guy that's shown throughout his career, I can continue to build teams. I can continue to recruit the right managers and keep this Inter machine flowing, growing, winning, succeeding. Okay, when Conte left, everybody was like, what's next? He went Lazio and he got Simone Inzaghi. And listen, I'm still of the opinion Inzaghi is a great coach. He's a great manager. A lot of context needs to be applied to his time at Inter. And I feel like he done well. But now that he's gone, what's next? Now let's look at the names that they've been linked with as of late. And I'll be honest with you guys, this is a manager I would love to see at Inter. The return, the last dance of Jose Mourinho. Now I feel like this one will split opinions so much. Jose Mourinho, currently at Fenerbahçe. Okay, his last stint in the Serie A was with Roma. This is a guy that's won the treble with Inter. Funnily enough, only 2 non-Italian coaches have won the Serie A. Sven-Göran Eriksson and Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho was the last coach, the last non-Italian coach to win the Serie A. And he done it in very, very, very good fashion. He done it by squeezing that last bit of juice from so many players. Like, let's just say, Inter fans would know, when Mourinho left, a lot of players also left. And a lot of these players were in the twilight years of their career. Does it make sense to bring in Mourinho to Inter? I wouldn't say it makes sense from a tactical aspect or from a ball playing aspect. No. I feel like Mourinho's tactics can come across, they can come across obsolete. Yeah, they can come across a bit old-fashioned. But the one thing that we can say about Mourinho is Mourinho knows how to win. Will it be fancy? Will it be smooth on the eye? Will you be seeing Simone Inzaghi, positional rotation, positional play? No, you wouldn't really be seeing that. But you will see a team that fights and knows how to win. And I feel like bringing in somebody like Mourinho into this current Inter squad where they've hit rock bottom. When Inter lost to Manchester City in the Champions League, it was sad. They were upset. They were heartbroken. But I never ever looked at that squad and said, you guys have hit rock bottom. If anything, I feel like they were upset. But they still left with their head held high. With their heads held high. There was pride. Because they know that performance was good. And that performance was something we can build on. And they did that the following season by winning the Scudetto. This performance against PSG, I feel like these Inter players are actually now beginning to look at one another, to look at themselves, to look at the board and doubt everything, question everything. And yes, you can go down the pathway of bringing in a young, dynamic, exciting coach. Somebody that's going to implement a new, fancy, different style of football. So it puts that fire back in their belly, which is now you need to adapt. Now you need to start playing in a different way. And maybe, just maybe, playing in a different way might unlock you and take you to the next level. And that's why I do look at somebody like Cesc Fàbregas and say it would be a very exciting appointment because of his philosophy, because of what he can bring, because of what he's shown. I can take players up 2, 3, 4, 5 levels. And my style of football, it's so penetrative, it's so productive, it might actually be the difference between them losing out the Serie A by 1 point and them winning it by 1 point. But we can also look at it and say somebody like Cesc Fàbregas, who hasn't done much in the game, doesn't have the credibility to walk in and start demanding things from these players. And that's why we always say sometimes you need a coach that's experienced. You need a coach that's a winner. Like a winner's mentality, because only a winner can walk in and rally the troops after they've just been spanked 5-0 to PSG. Only a winner can do that. Okay, only a winner can walk in and instill that faith and confidence and trust into players that have just had. You have to apply context, but on paper, it's been a shocking campaign for Inter. Trophyless, no Coppa Italia, no Serie A. You look at the games that they drop points in the Serie A, and then the Champions League spanking. It's a ship that's heading in the direction of sinking. And I do look at Mourinho and I say, listen, Mourinho, bro, there's aura. I hate that word, but there's aura when it comes to Mourinho. When Mourinho walks in, he is one guy that can look you in the eye and tell you, come under my wing, trust me, listen to me, work hard for me, fight for me, and this time next year, you will be a Serie A winner. This time next year, you will be a Coppa Italia winner. This time next year, you will be a Champions League winner. Mourinho is the one guy. If he was to say that to any player, they would believe him. Now, yes, if Cesc Fàbregas was to walk in and he looks at these players and says to them, listen, trust me, come under my wing, come under my vision, and this time next year you will be a Serie A winner, I kid you not, maybe 50% would believe him. The other 50% would look at him and be like, bro, you haven't won anything. Yeah, now, of course, with all due respect, you've only really managed Como. We've seen the progression, we've seen the growth, but you still haven't won anything. So you as a coach have never ever been in a situation where you've had to compete for a title, where you've had to handle the pressure of competing, of like playing every single game, knowing that there's opposition breathing down your neck, chasing you down. You've never been in that environment. You've never been in that situation. You've never ever been in that predicament and walked out a champion. So to me, this is all talk. But Mourinho, he has. He's been in that predicament in the Premier League, 1, succeeded. He's been in that predicament in Italy, 1, succeeded. He's been in that predicament in Spain, La Liga, 1, succeeded. I actually look at Mourinho and I say, winner, knows the Serie A, knows Inter in and out. No matter how broken this Inter fan base might be, you bring in somebody like Mourinho, everybody's back on board. Everybody's back on board. It's a name that's come about as of late, yeah? I'll be honest with you. For me, I probably put Mourinho number 1. 2, like I mentioned, Cesc Fàbregas. Different ideology, different philosophy, different system, a different type of energy. Young, dynamic, let's grow together as a team. My system is fluid, my system is productive, okay? He's number 2. 3, as being reported by Damasio, Christian Chivu. Now, I'll be honest, I'd be a liar if I told you guys, from what I've seen of Chivu at Parma, would I say, yeah, it's the right appointment? For me, it's a gamble. I'll be honest with you. Now, don't get me wrong. Parma under Chivu, they became solid. Like, they nearly beat Inter. They beat Juve. Like, Parma's Chivu, they were a good team. It was exciting. It's the youngest team in the Serie A. He managed to keep them in the Serie A. He actually got them playing a very nice brand of football, okay? But I still look at Chivu and say, maybe, just maybe, you need another year at Parma to show higher levels of growth. Like, to go from Parma straight into the Inter job. Bearing in mind, he hasn't had much experience at Parma. Prior to that, I believe he was either the under-21s, under-20s coach at Inter. I do look at him and say, there's a lot more in the game for you to learn, to experience. Now, fair enough, you've been there, you've done it before, you've played for Inter, you've tasted silverware with Inter. But I always say, that is not enough. Like, sometimes people turn around and say, we just need somebody that's an Inter fan at heart, somebody that's represented Inter in the past. Yes, that's good. And that is definitely something that you should look into and want in a future coach. But that shouldn't be the be-all and end-all. You should want that. But you should also want tactics. You should also want style of play. You should also want man management, player development, results, silverware. I look at Chivu and I look at him and say, it's a nice style of play. You've done well with Parma. That's one positive. The second positive is you've represented Inter. You've tasted success with Inter. You know the club. That's the second positive. But all of the rest, I haven't really seen them. Like, the sample size is not big for me to look at Chivu and say, you are ready for the Inter job. And to be fair, the same thing can be said about the Genoa manager. And the funny thing is, Patrick Vieira is more experienced than somebody like Chivu. And similar to him, he's represented Inter. But I don't look at Vieira and say, you are ready. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't. I'm just putting it out there. I have never ever really been a fan of Patrick Vieira as a coach. In terms of what I've seen of him at Crystal Palace in the Premier League, he has one of the most exciting young squads, and he couldn't get anything out of them. He couldn't get anything out of them. At Genoa, they're hard to break down. They're very compact. They're defensively solid. But I do not look at him and say, you've done enough to earn the job. To an Inter team that, as much as we might say they're broken and they're in need of reinforcements, this isn't a team that finished mid-table. This is a team that competed for the Scudetto till the final day. This is a team that reached the Champions League final. This is a team that reached the Coppa Italia final. As much as they might be broken and they're in need of reinforcements, it's a good team where any good manager could actually succeed with them next season. And that is a fact. Like, don't be surprised if Inter win the Scudetto next year. Vieira, nah. Like, I don't know what dragged his name into it. And the same can be said about Motta. Exact same thing. Motta played under Mourinho. Won the treble. Motta once again. Motta, Bologna, exciting. Juventus took the gamble on him. It didn't work out. And I feel like Inter should definitely look at it and tell themselves, another big club in Italy took a gamble on him. He couldn't implement his philosophy. And one of the big criticisms around Motta was the fact that he couldn't handle the pressure of being the coach, of being the manager of a big team in Italy. It's different. It's so different from being the coach of Bologna and being the coach of Juve. Now imagine going, and let's be real, he walked into a Juve team where at the start of the season, nobody looked at him and said the expectation is to win the Scudetto. Nobody looked at him and said that. But now he's going to walk into an Inter team where the expectation is to win the Scudetto. And if it's not, you better go compete. I don't think Motta is ready. For me, Motta, Vieira, I think like projects like Lazio, Fiorentina, even Roma, those are the next step up for them. But to make the jump straight away, for me, no, I already know what people are about to say. How could you say all of this but still favour somebody like Fabregas? Fabregas, for me, he's shown he's got a better ideology than those two. He's shown he's got a better style of play. I've just seen more growth in Fabregas in his one campaign at Como than I saw throughout Vieira's entire career, than I saw through Motta's entire career. And don't get me wrong, if Fabregas was to be appointed and it doesn't go well, everybody would look at him and say he hasn't got the experience, he's not ready. But if I had to pick out those three, I lean more towards Fabregas because I actually think his style of football is so penetrative that, I don't know, like Fabregas is one of those guys that you just look at and you just know he's going to have a good career as a coach. But the number one will always be Mourinho for me. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on another one.